Hello, everyone. It's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I play a little bit of movie roulette and pick a random movie off my obscenely large, ridiculous watch list, which basically could have anything and everything on here. And the odds were in their favor picking the Hound of the Baskervilles because I'm pretty sure there's like three of them on this list.
Yeah.
And we landed on the 1959 Hammer horror version. And joining me is our fearless leader of the SPDM crew. It is Mike Hilty.
Hello. How's it going?
We are going to be talking about some good old fashioned Sherlock Holmes, which
Mm,
I was actually very excited about this because I had seen one adaptation of this book and I could not remember which one it was when I
mm.
was a kid, because actually this was one of my favorite books,
Oh
Hound of the
yeah.
Baskervilles.
This book is a
So,
straight up classic for
mhm.
sure for anybody who's a Sherlock Holmes fan. So yeah, this is a good one.
And got some little bit of backstory here. Released May 4th, 1959 in the UK and then in July in the US. Runtime of 87 minutes, directed by Terence Fisher, adapted from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes story, produced by Hammer Horror, starring the two stars of Hammer Horror, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee.
Mhm,
First adaptation of the 1902 novel in color. There
mhm.
was a few black and white versions before this, and Cushing was a humongous Sherlock Holmes fan and brought a whole bunch of notes wanting to make Holmes much more true to the book versus
Mhm.
the previous adaptations. And Andre Morel, who played Dr. Watson, wanted to make him more close to the novel as well because he had become a bumbling sidekick
Yeah.
character in some of the adaptations. And Christopher Lee plays Sir Henry Baskerville and his
Mm,
insane height.
mm. Right.
Christopher Lee was like 6'5", 6'6", very, very tall man.
Just towering over everyone. Yeah.
Sir Christopher Frank Ferrandini Lee,
Hmm. Okay.
his full
Well,
proper name.
I did not know his full proper name, so good to know.
There we go. But this tells the story when a nobleman is threatened by a family curse on his newly inherited estate. Detective Sherlock Holmes is hired to investigate. Mike, what were your general thoughts on the Hound of the Baskervilles?
This has a slightly, it's obviously there's a little bit more of a horror element to this. And I did read that like the Doyle estate was like, yeah, we're not really huge fans of that. But still proceeded forward with it. I did like that it did incorporate a little bit more horror elements into this, but
Hmm.
I don't know. It's really hard to mess up a story like this. And I really like a lot of aspects of this movie. I thought the performances were all pretty solid. I think that the production design and the costumes were all really good. The
Hmm.
mystery is pretty sprawling, and it's very involved, like one would expect any Sherlock Holmes story to have. And I do feel like both Sherlock Holmes and Watson, like they're pretty interesting and involved characters. Whereas, in the past, like you said, Watson is just this bumbling idiot that like nobody
Hmm.
could take seriously. And this time around, it didn't feel like that. So there was a lot to like about this, and it's always fun to see different adaptations of Sherlock Holmes stories because
Hmm.
Sherlock Holmes is just like a generational detective that like sprawls all kinds of different adaptations in pop culture. Like I've seen the Robert Downey Jr. versions. There's the Benedict Cumberbatch versions.
Yeah.
There's even the version where Sherlock Holmes is a mouse, right? So there's plenty of different ways that this could be interpreted. So, but again, it's hard to screw it up because Sherlock Holmes is just a fascinating character, and any mystery that you put him in, yeah, I'll watch it and I'll be happy with it.
I feel like the biggest complaint I have for this, there was no Radigan. But no, this is not the Great Mouse Detective. But this is a story that I love,
Mhm,
and I was super excited to check this out. I don't think this was the one that I watched
mhm.
when I was a kid. Might have been. I might have to watch the 30s one and really figure that out because I couldn't remember if it was in color or not. But from this opening scene, this really sets the mood of Hammer
Yeah.
horror. This is shot like a lot of those films are, and like Terrence Fisher, I think specifically brings that vibe to it. There's a ominous atmosphere. There's a
Mhm.
richness, all the color.
Yeah.
Like watching films from this specific era, especially like old Vincent Price films and this, there's such everything is so rich. Like
Mhm.
any of the reds and greens just are like
They
popping off
pop.
screen.
Yeah.
The beginning, the Henry's ancestor and his booming voice
Mhm.
is like grabs your attention, and there's like malice in the air in this opening sequence that really sets the tone for what's going to happen. And yeah, this is an interesting mystery.
Mhm.
It puts you on edge. I love the setting.
Oh,
These
the setting's
the
great.
moors
Yeah.
are so creepy. I
Mhm.
actually watched a horror film called The Moor. That was that earlier this year or last year. I don't remember. But it, like the creepiness of like the fog and the marsh swamp elements of it just really is it's dangerous.
Mhm.
And they lampshade it quite a bit. Early on with Watson falling in,
Mhm.
which then telegraphs some stuff that happens on later in the film. And right from the start, there's danger because the first time we meet Henry, you have that tarantula,
Oh yeah.
uh, which my wife was just like, "That's not poisonous." Um,
It doesn't matter if it's poisonous or not. It's still a giant spider. Like, calm down, Jess. What are we talking
well,
about here?
because they were acting like it could kill him.
True. Yeah.
So Jess knows more than most audiences would realize. So it didn't
Yeah.
work on her. She didn't get tricked.
She didn't get tricked. That's right.
Um, And I love the dynamic. Holmes is such like a quirky, strange individual, and like he nopes out, he disappears
Yeah.
for a chunk of this movie, which is where Andre Morale as Watson gets to stand out and doing some of that stuff. Christopher Lee just has great presence
Oh, he
as Sir
does.
Henry.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just his presence in this, you could tell that the Baskerville, like I was about to call it a brand, because like that's just what it feels like, but like that kind of what it is that it is it feels like a larger than life family with this. And what better way to portray like rich, powerful family than to have someone like Christopher Lee just towering over everybody.
Mhm. It's and just the cast is very interesting too. Like even like Francis DeWolf, who plays Dr. Mortimer, he just has like a presence, a look, that beard. Um, Solon, who plays Stapleton,
Mhm.
is just suspect,
A little
a
bit.
bit
Yeah.
eerie. And like it has some great threads, like this escaped convict that's
Mhm.
on the moors, which is scary. Um, there's multiple fake outs of
Mhm.
deaths and stuff like that. It's just like, well, we can't get Holmes out. And then they turn around and he's been sitting there for 10 minutes. It's like escaped. And this all builds up to a pretty intense finale. Like it is very interesting and I think dated a little bit
A
in
little
terms
bit.
of like who's the bad people in this scenario. Um,
True. True.
it's
I do agree with that, but you know,
this was written in 1902, and nobody said that the British didn't have, prejudices and stuff like
that's
that.
that is true. Yeah.
I feel like you could see a little bit of that in this, but it's still like an intense, eerie mystery. The dog itself,
Oh,
the big dog,
yeah, that and looks scary. I'm not
does
gonna
look
lie,
scary.
looks
The
scary.
titular Hound of the Baskervilles for sure.
Mhm.
There's this just sense of danger and looming just atmosphere that really works for the film, and Fisher does a great job of building that up. But
Mhm.
like Peter Cushing is perfect Sherlock Holmes.
He's pretty good. He is pretty good. I am I ever gonna put him above someone like a Benedict Cumberbatch? Probably not, but he's pretty high up there. And like Sherlock Holmes has had a ton of people have a crack at, portraying him. So, you know, for this to be kind of like one of those that you look back on and is like, well, this is still pretty good and it holds up for the most part for being in the 50s or being filmed in the 50s because of like you said the
Mm,
aesthetic, the performances, and just this is just a timeless story as
yeah.
well. And if you stick like if you stick close to it and you just take some like random liberties that doesn't like change the story drastically, you're gonna have a pretty good movie on your hands. And that's kind of how I felt about this one.
Well, yeah, it's a classic mystery. And it's the same thing. It's like that's why we keep getting Murder on the Orient Expresses, Death on the Niles. It's like these are classic mysteries.
Mhm.
And this is the classic Sherlock Holmes mystery. This
Mhm.
is like one of the most famous cases that he has, and this is really effective adaptation. It definitely has all that atmosphere, and yet it has a probably has a darker tone than you might expect, but you shouldn't because it says Hammer Horror on it. So
True. True. Yeah, I will give you this. And this didn't feel like yes, I understand that this movie isn't that short, but like it makes the most of its time pretty well. It doesn't feel like any time's wasted, and but that's also kind of the beauty of Sherlock Holmes story, right? Is that everything matters and Sherlock
mhm.
Holmes is going to uncover as much as possible before he comes to a conclusion about something. So I feel like this does an effective job of showing like Sherlock Holmes' process
Mhm.
and just going through everything and just trying to uncover as much information as possible in order to formulate some type of hypothesis on who did it. So I will give
Well,
them a lot
and
of
I
credit.
appreciate that Holmes is a little ahead of us at
Hmm.
times.
Hmm.
And that's kind of part of the fun because we're with Watson basically. Like
Yeah.
our anchor to the story is Watson, and Holmes is a little far ahead, and it's fun catching up to him.
Hmm.
And like I said, this comes to a good climax. It has a good cast. It has vibes. It looks really good. I want to watch more movies from this era because they're so much richer and colorful and interesting looking to look at. Um, I've watching some of those Vincent Price, Roger Corman, old horror films and stuff like that. This is a fun era. And
Hmm.
Hammer horror had plenty too. You know,
Yeah.
you can see Christopher Lee being Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the mummy, um, all of those. And Peter Cushing being Van Helsing and Frankenstein, the
Hmm.
scientist and stuff like that.
Yep.
But Mike, do you have any other thoughts on Hound of the Baskervilles?
Um, no, not really. You kind of hit all the points that I wanted to talk about as well. Like I give a lot of credit to the beginning for setting a very ominous tone from the very start, and
Hmm.
the just the setting of the moors, like you said, was really strong as well. Yeah, I hadn't seen this adaptation before, and I'm glad that the random number generator picked it for me. So appreciate that.
There we go. But Mike, thank you as always for coming on and chat movies with me.
Thank you for randomly generating a number for me to watch for a movie.
And Mike will be back on again, as he usually is.
Mhm.
But thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite who is your favorite Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah.
What's your favorite Sherlock Holmes mystery? Make sure to follow or subscribe if you ever listen to your podcast. The SPDM Crew podcasting network is ever expanding. So many great shows with all different types of interests. There's a little something for everybody. And if you want to join the crew as a guest on a show like this, or if you want to start your own podcast and have an idea, make sure to reach out to us on our website. And if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer here on the Wasteland Watchlist on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.